Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast with Dan Casper.
It's time for another edition of the Business of Sports, brought to you by Security Financial Bank. We highlighted it, about a month ago or so, with Tiger switching logos, I believe, or moving on from Nike. And we kind of speculated, would it continue? Would TW, would, new logo and all that? Well, we got our answer. So the other day, Tiger Woods TaylorMade, the golf brand TaylorMade, partnering up to launch Sunday Red. Sunday Red. A new active premium lifestyle brand. Tiger saying it's the right time in my life. It's transitional. I'm no longer a kid anymore. Life changes. I have kids now, and this is an important part of transitioning into this part of my life to have a product and a brand that I'm proud of. If you haven't seen it, the logo is a tiger with 15 stripes on there. The 15 stripes, one for each major championship Woods has won in his career, which would bug me, and Tiger did answer this question, what happens if he does win another major championship? He said, we'll have to redo the trademark. That would bug me. Like, no, I can't do that. Like, that's even like some of the swag I have in the man cave. If it has dates on there, it bugs me. I don't know why, because I feel like it'd get outdated at a certain point. But it is a picture of a tiger, and obviously we know Sunday Red. It's two words, Sunday Red, by the way. Comes from his iconic red that he would wear on Sundays. His mom would always say that his color red was kind of his color because his mom's from is Thailand born. Told him red was his power color, so that's why he always wore red on Sundays. So, I'll tell you one thing. I get why the logo is a tiger. I get it. I would have gone a different route though. It might be copying somebody, but we thought, would he pair up with Jordan? I would have liked the Tiger fist pump.
Ooh,
as the logo.
Yeah.
You got the Jumpman Jordan. How about a Tiger fist pump outline as the logo?
Oh,
that would have been my choice, but I'm not Tiger, so. And I get people who are like, "Ooh, he's copying his buddy Jordan and all that." I get it, but that to me, like, oh yeah, I know what that is. If I wasn't a golf fan and I'm walking through a store and I see that logo, I have no idea what that is. You know what I mean?
See, my first thought kind of is, Greg Norman, shark.
Ah, yeah. I didn't think of that, but you're right.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that also doesn't necessarily make me think of Tiger Woods. Like, it kind of does and it doesn't at the same time. I don't really want to knock on the logo, though, either when I say that. But it's not obvious where the fist pump is obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if it's a red fist pump, then you really, really, really know.
Right.
There's a very slight irony, too, of him saying, no, I'm not a kid anymore. I grow up. And then I've grown up. And then the logo is like a sketch of a tiger, which is probably something like what a 5-year-old would potentially draw. I like the symbolism of the lines.
Yes.
Like I think it's a clever logo.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the updating thing, I know we'll know in about 5 years. For sure, if that logo is ever going to be updated.
Yeah.
At least. So if you want to hold off on the swag, you don't have to hold off that long. Be real. But I do think it's kind of neat that it can be updated that way. But, in a general sense, though, how would you, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate the logo?
1 to 10, I'm probably at about a 6.
Okay.
It doesn't really like, ooh, I got to go buy me a new hat sort of thing. It doesn't get me like that. It doesn't like I want to go buy a new polo to wear that.
So then the question becomes, how many people are going to run out and get Sunday Red?
Boatload.
Yeah.
Boatload will, including, because it sounds like, too, that they're going to come out with footwear, too.
Ooh.
With new spikes, golf spikes out there.
So how much Sunday Red are you going to be buying in the next year?
None.
You waiting for the logo to be finalized?
I'm waiting for clearance aisles.
Okay. So are you, okay, so are you going to be waiting for, like, because on the one hand, you might be like, well, this is really popular, but it's going clearance. Well, if it's really popular, there's nothing going to be clearance. But there's going to be new designs coming out.
Here's my other thing, too, because I have a TW hat. It's very comfortable. It's one of my favorite hats. It's a gray TW hat. I wear it all the time. I wear it golfing. Love it. Love it. The other part why I won't probably get this, and I never say never. You never say. But here's my mindset too, and this plays into this whole marketing business thing. I don't use TaylorMade. I don't have anything that's TaylorMade. I don't use TaylorMade clubs. I don't use TaylorMade golf balls. So part of my mindset's like, call it dumb, call it weird. My wife would in a heartbeat that this is a stupid mindset, but this is how I think. I don't have anything TaylorMade, so I don't want to, like, wearing a TaylorMade hat would be weird for me. Whereas TW and the Nike, it just felt like Nike is more, it's not just a golf thing, right? It's a brand altogether. It's basketball, it's football. To put it in this perspective, Hudson last night asked me if he could get a pair of Nike shoes so he could be like a football player. Wow. That was his thing that came out of his mouth. It's like, that's how he resonates. He doesn't know what Nike is other than football players wear it. He sees the symbol. And so it was a really comfortable hat. That's why I got it. But I grew up, which is kind of, I was surprised when we asked, like, who was your big crush as an athlete? We had quite a few people saying Tiger Woods. And I know I've said many times Tiger Woods was the guy, probably one of the more influential athletes during my childhood because he made golf cool to play. But I have it in my mind like, okay, it's TaylorMade, but I don't have a TaylorMade driver. I don't have a wedge. I don't have TaylorMade golf. I don't know if I'm going to wear it. When I go out golfing, I almost have to have, like, it's almost like I've got to put together a uniform almost.
Yeah.
As weird as that sounds, and believe me, my wife will give me a lot of crap because I know I'll say that stuff to her. I've said stuff like that before. It's like the same thing for a jersey. If there's something wrong in a color scheme in a jersey, I won't wear it. I can't. It doesn't make sense to me. So it's got to be as close to the original as possible. I can't do that with this. But that's a credit to the marketing companies out there for doing that.
How significant for those of us that aren't as into, that don't know as much about golf manufacturing, how significant is TaylorMade in golf circles?
It's gotten a lot bigger over the years.
Okay.
Huge now. Yeah, I think I can remember when was it high school? Like was it the TaylorMade M7 drivers? When they started to come out, it's like everybody had to get one of those. It was one of those drivers you can adjust, the weight and all that sort of stuff. And I don't know why it was just, and I think part of it too, again, the era I grew up in was like, no, I want Nike because of Tiger. So I got a Nike driver. And then it kind of transitioned a little bit into, like, friends of mine were hitting Callaways. And I'm like, okay, Callaway. And then, of course, Titleist. When I was really into golf, reading golf magazines and going online, it was like Titleist was all over. I'm like, okay, I'm going to use Titleist because everybody's using Titleist. And that's how now I'm a Callaway and Titleist guy.
Okay.
And it was weird because, too, like, younger. Well, if you want the best wedges, they're Cleveland wedges. So all my wedges are still Cleveland wedges. It's a weird thing, I think, when it comes to golf and brands. It's like you almost got to pick a side. It feels like.
I could see that. Like, there are probably other gear things or whatever. It can be different fields. Not even sports. It can be music. It could be cars or whatever. And even though to the average person, there's not going to be much difference between the brands. Like, okay, this is what it is. If you're in on one thing, it takes a lot to get you off of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I kind of get it.
Yeah, like, it's, if you're a football fan and you're going to buy a jersey, you're stuck whether it's going to be Nike or before that it was Reebok, right? Mm-hmm. You couldn't pick. Golf, it's almost like you're picking a team once you pick the clubs and the golf ball that you're going to be using.
Because it's an individual sport, so you have more choice with that. It's not whatever the league has decided, to a lesser extent what the team has decided. Mm-hmm. You have that individuality. Same with tennis. Again, another individual sport. Mm-hmm.
Same with maybe the tennis shoes that you're currently wearing right now. Are you a Nike? Are you Adidas guy?
Right.
Or gal?
Uh-huh.
That sort of thing.
So it's more individual that way.
Right. And to me, it's like, I'm Team Callaway and Titleist. So last year when I needed a new driver, I strictly looked at one brand. It was Callaway.
Because you know it, you like it, you're comfortable with it. And if
Yeah.
there's a subtle difference, but
I'll tell you, if I was back to 13-year-old Dan, I'd probably be looking at TaylorMade because that's what Tiger does.
But you also wouldn't have a life's worth of becoming accustomed to a particular brand, and that's where people do pick up on the subtleties. Again, where an average fan average person does not understand when you're really into something, you can pick up on the differences because you're so familiar. Then nuance stands out a little more, and maybe you don't quite like it. You're like, yeah, this does feel a little different. Now, I suppose if you were given two, like, let's say, generic T-shirts or generic polo shirts. One was a TaylorMade Tiger Woods, and the other one was like a Nike or something. Would you necessarily notice the difference if you didn't have, and if they same color, same
Without the logo?
Yeah,
Yeah, I wouldn't notice the difference. No.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's the thing. With a lot of these things, probably not. Maybe with a club. Do you think you'd pick out different types of golf clubs if they were completely generic looking?
Probably.
You know, but that's because there's a lot more that goes into like the swing and all
And a lot of it was because, I had a couple friends, Callaways, and I was at that point like, okay, I'm going to get some new ones, looked them up, started swinging them, like, I like them. And that's the thing, too, is like when you commit, because let's face it, golf is freaking expensive. I mean, it's expensive to buy equipment for. So, I mean, it's a commitment. And I feel like it's not like you can just go to the store and just pick out what's on the shelf. If you want to commit to this, you kind of have to do your research a little bit. And so part of it's like, okay, I know this brand worked for me. I'm sticking with that brand now. It's going to be very hard for me to change. Whereas, and that's me as an adult. Whereas if I was younger and I was a kid, what's my favorite person? What are they playing? That's what I'll play. Sort of thing.
Yeah.
If Tiger started off as TaylorMade when he first started, I probably would be TaylorMade, to be honest with you.
You have a lifetime of associating Tiger Woods and Nike. A lot of us do. So this feels kind of weird. Well, okay, it's like Brett Favre going to the Vikings. Seems kind of strange. Or to the Jets, or Aaron Rodgers to the Jets. They're Packers. So why would you go all in on another? No, this isn't, I mean, in and of itself, it's not inherently bad. It's different. It's not that different, all things considered, but it's not what we're used to. So we're not going to buy into that.
Yeah.
But like you said, a lot of people are going to buy into that. Not to Nike levels, but a lot of people will. That's fine.
Yeah, it was, even like the Titleist ones. I don't know if my coach is listening right now. I know he does sometimes, but like I remember, we'd get on the bus to go into meets and such, and once in a while he'd pass out some Titleist NXT tours or NXT balls, and they'd have Medford on there. It was at that point like I think I might have had a good round or something like that. Nope, I'm that's all I'm shooting now is Titleist. Titleist NXT. To this day, I will still try to shoot a Titleist NXT if I could, because it just the brand awareness for golf. I feel like it's like that compared to any other sport is different.
Yeah.
It's completely different. Like, I think TaylorMade is going to make a crap ton of money on this thing.
They will.
With Tiger.
Yes.
And I don't think I'm going to get anything. I'll never say never, because I'm usually an impulse buyer when one of my favorite things is like, oh, yeah, I got to get that. Ooh, I used to be that way.
If he wins a major...
Oh, if he wins the Masters, then I guarantee you I'm probably going to go buy some.
Well, the Masters is a stone-cold lock. If he wins any other major, and at this point, probably the Masters is the best one. Yeah, you totally are going to do that. But then it makes sense because he's had an imprint with that.
Right.
There's part of Tiger Woods' golf story is that, is TaylorMade.
Yeah.
That's going to be weird seeing... Because we're gonna see that this year, right? We're gonna see that Tiger logo.
He's already because the Genesis this weekend he's playing in it.
That's gonna be weird.
And there's already practice rounds and he's wearing it. So I can't think of another athlete like when you think of Jordan, it's been Nike, but then it transitioned to Jumpman, which is still they're partners. Right.
It might be kind of like when Federer went Uniqlo or something like that. You're like,
yeah,
oh, that's a little... Not that I really associated him with one brand or another, but then you start seeing that late career, like, what's that?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
Absolutely interesting. But yeah, I would put money down on you eventually buying something. And at some point in the future...
One of Tiger's new things?
Yeah.
I will tell you, though, if it was his fist pump logo, yeah, I'd be probably running over to Shields right now.
Oh, yeah.
Something.
Like, I think I'd probably have to fill in on the rest of the show this morning. But
Yeah.
I think you're going to get something at some, regardless of if Tiger Woods may get injured in the practice rounds this week and never play again. I think you still are going to get something at some point. Now, again, that could be 30 years down the road. I think you will at some point.
It's so, like, I feel... I'm trying to think of another... Jordan's the only one I could think of, but, like, not just from a club standpoint or a polo or a hat wearing standpoint. I could think of how many people right now, friends, that have a freaking Tiger head cover on their clubs just because of Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
An animal head cover of a tiger on their driver. No reason whatsoever other than Tiger Woods has one. Some form. I mean, I had one when I was a kid. I also had the gopher from Caddyshack as one. Now I got Bigfoot as a head cover. But there's still people I still golf with to this day still have a Tiger head cover just because of Tiger Woods had one.
Yeah. And it helps with his name being what it is.
Well, right, but
If it's Eldrick Woods, okay, it's a lot tougher to come up with something like that. Tiger having the nickname helped a lot.
Mm-hmm. But it's just I can't think of another. Again, maybe besides Jordan, who, if Tiger had something on his golf bag, people would do it right away. Like put something on there. Ooh, a head cover of a tiger. Got to go get one. Or a weird badge or something like that. Got to get one. Got to put it on my golf bag too. It's like you're part of a team.
Mm-hmm.
It's when you really think about it, it's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy. It's almost like is it fair to? I don't know if this is a good example, but like if you're a huge Packers fan, you're probably going to have Packers head covers. So if you're a huge Tiger fan, you're going to have a Tiger head cover,
right,
on there.
Because again, it's a golf thing. So you can, I get that.
You know what's also weird for me when it comes to golf brands? I can't have a Packer thing on there. I do have a Packer head cover. I'll take a step back. I do have a Packer head cover on there now, but previously I would not because it's a different sport. I can't intertwine sports. That's how weird I am.
Really?
And the only reason I have a Packer head cover on there now is because it's a very old club. It's an old 5-wood. It's an old King Cobra, but it never had a head cover on there. But before I settled on finally getting a Packer one just to put it over, I scoured eBay and everything to try to find that same head cover for that club. I couldn't find the right one. In fact, I had a generic one on there. I shouldn't say generic. It was an old 3-wood one, but it was a 5-wood, and it bothered me too much, and I took it off. It's stupid. I have a stupid mindset like that.
Yeah, I understand.
Like I can't hit a Badger golf ball. Doesn't make sense. I can't get I remember one time they would always have the Titleist baseball hats, so there was like a Titleist Brewer one or a Titleist Badger. I can't do that. I don't know why. I can't intertwine the sports. I'm weird, man.
It's not that weird.
Oh, it's weird.
I mean, it's weird for sure. Average person doesn't understand that, but it's not that weird. There's certain things you can't quite mix. So I know I get that.
Yeah, it does not. I can't intertwine it. So
put a whole bunch of new Tiger tailor-made logos on head covers at some point in the future.
Right.
I can't rule it out. Mm-hmm. I can see it.
Wow. All right, let's take a break. That's your business of sports.
Oh, by the way, before we go to break, since we're talking about companies and apparel, thoughts on apparently baseball players hating the new baseball jerseys.
Oh, I did not hear this.
Yes, I can't remember.
Is this a George Costanza where he changed the Yankees uniforms to cotton?
Not that far off, actually, because Fanatics has the deal now, or Nike has it, but then they have Fanatics, and they have all new design, and I think it's one of those. It's probably one of those words: 0.34765% easier wicking moisture, blah blah blah. And now the players are reporting, and I think it was a word that I can't repeat on the radio. They're like, these jerseys suck. Mm-hmm. These are the new ones you're going to see across the league this year. Read more into it because I could go all uni geek on this and I could go a half hour into it. But It's one thing for like Jersey folks, like those of us like you're talking about with golf stuff.
Yeah.
Me in uniform, so we can geek out on that all day. And again, most people are like, well, blah, 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 blah. It's another thing when the players are like, the heck are we going to be wearing this year? Mm-hmm. I don't know that there's anything that can be done. But read into that a little bit more. I wonder if this becomes a bit more of a thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I thought of when you started saying it was George Costanza again.
Gosh, anything George Costanza and the Yankees. Gosh, that was great.
Yeah.
Gosh, that was great.